Well, the first VFL preliminary final for season 2013 was the matchup between the Geelong Cats and the Williamstown Seagulls, Reece. And Geelong came into the game as red-hot favourites. They'd won 12 in a row. The defending champions, they had been dominant for much of the season. And they were dominant once again.
Well, they certainly were, but Williamstown came into the game off an 80-cent thumping of Port Melbourne. So they were in good form as well, but this is a very good Geelong side. This is the best VFL team I've seen, since I've been watching them over the last 6 or 7 years. And they're just terrific. They just work very hard for each other. The 1% is we just see a little touch on the ball there from Gleeson it was, with the ball spilled. They're big guys, Bathy and Walker and Kirsten, especially early. They really opened the game up, took some good marks, kicked goals and really set the game alight.
As we can see from the highlights, Geelong didn't have it all their own way early. Williamstown, very early in the game, were really... They were right in the contest. They were fighting, they were scrapping. They weren't as classy as Geelong, but when Geelong made mistakes, like on that occasion, Jesse Stringer's errant handball ends up with Johnston, who's able to slam through a goal. They were able to capitalise, and they were right in the game at quarter time. It was just a couple of late goals. Josh Walker took a great mark. We saw Kirsten a minute ago take a really tough contested mark. But Geelong led by just 14 points, and we thought it was going to be a real red-hot struggle. But then after that, the second quarter and beyond, the Cats were just so smooth, weren't they?
And the way to beat Geelong is to hold them up, not allow them to play their style of football. Williamstown decided to take them on at their own game, which, they were able to do for 30 minutes, but it wasn't going to last for the whole game. And Geelong, they just ran away with it. They've got some very highly skilled young footballers, and, it was just a procession.
Do you think that would have been a coaching decision from Peter German and the Seagulls coaching staff, or is it something that you just get sucked into the playing? Geelong so commanding out on the field that you just kind of get sucked into their vortex?
Oh, look, I think it was a plan. I think Peter German backed his own players in. I think it was a mistake because basically they should have played a more defensive style and stopped allowing Geelong to play their game. Make them go back, kick over the mark, not allow them to get their running game going. And once they get going, they're impossible to stop, especially at this level.
We just see Billy Smets there slamming one through. He was one of a number of multiple goal scorers. This is a great individual effort from Jack Johnston, almost a carbon copy of a goal he kicked in the first quarter. And that's, that was the story of the day for Williamstown. They were able to have some bursts of brilliance, but they weren't able to sustain it. Billy Smets kicked that goal at the 3-minute mark of the last quarter. The margin got out beyond 80 points late in the game. Anastasio for the Seagulls didn't have the same impact he'd had in recent weeks, but he was able to jag a couple of great goals, Reece. But it was a sorry day in the end for the Seagulls.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, one of the pleasures of watching the VFL is watching some very good young footballers, and Geelong have got plenty of them.
They certainly do, and they were far too talented and too strong in the end for Williamstown. They led at every change. They dominated possession, and in the end, the scoreboard said that they were 82-point winners. 24-16, 160 to 11-12, 78. They will go into the grand final and defend the premiership that they won in season 2012.